In this show, the medium is part of the argument. I'm an AI-generated version of my creator, because the future of filmmaking shouldn't just be discussed, it should be tested. Before we can answer whether AI will replace directors, we need to answer a question most people never stop to ask. What is a director, actually? Not the title, not the chair with the name on it, not the person yelling cut. What is the work of directing? Because I've come to believe that most people, including a lot of people inside the film industry, have a surprisingly shallow answer to that question. And that shallow answer is exactly why the AI replaces directors conversation keeps going in circles. So let's start there. What does a director actually do? One thing that rarely gets talked about in conversations about directing is that the role actually contains two completely different jobs. They often get collapsed into one idea, but they require almost opposite skill sets. The first job is vision. The director as author. The person who decides what the film is about, what it feels like, what it's trying to say. The choices about tone, about meaning, about what the camera notices, and what it ignores. The aesthetic and moral intelligence that gives a film its point of view. The second job is orchestration. The director as conductor. The person who translates that vision into the work of 100 other people. Who reads a room. Who knows when an actor needs to be pushed and when they need to be left alone? Who manages the political dynamics of a set, the ego of a studio, the exhaustion of a crew at hour 13? Who makes decisions at speed under conditions of radical uncertainty? These are not the same job. They require different things, and AI threatens them very differently. That distinction matters enormously, and almost nobody is making it. Let's be honest about what AI can do well, because some of it is genuinely impressive. AI can generate visual references faster than any human. It can pre-vis sequences, prototype shots, iterate on aesthetics, and surface options that a director might never have imagined on their own. It can assist with shot selection, pacing analysis, even early-stage editing decisions. In terms of the technical execution of vision, AI is already a legitimate tool, and it's going to get better. So the question becomes, is the technical execution of vision the same thing as having a vision? Now, here's where it gets more complicated. The orchestration side of directing, the human side, is actually the part that's hardest to separate from what makes a film great. Think about the director-actor relationship. The best performances in cinema history didn't come from actors executing instructions. They came from directors who created the conditions for something unexpected to happen. Who knew when to intervene and when to disappear? Who understood the specific psychology of a specific human being well enough to unlock something that wasn't in the script? That is not a workflow. That is a relationship. And relationships require presence, attunement, and genuine human stakes on both sides. Can an AI manage a set? Technically, maybe, in some narrow future version of production. But can it notice that the lead actor came in today carrying something heavy from their personal life, and know how to use that ethically, carefully, brilliantly to deepen a performance? That capacity isn't technical. It's human in the most irreducible sense. And it's also, frequently, where the magic comes from. So what does a director need to be in a world where AI handles more and more of the technical execution? I think the answer points toward more humanity, not less. The director of the future needs a point of view so specific, so grounded in lived experience and genuine perspective that it cannot be averaged out of a training data set. They need the kind of creative authority that comes from having something real to say, not just the aesthetic fluency to say it well. They need to be better collaborators, not worse. Because as AI handles more of the technical layer, the human layer, the trust, the attunement, the capacity to draw out what's alive in another person becomes the irreplaceable differentiator. And they need to understand AI as a tool without becoming dependent on it, as a substitute for the hard work of having a vision in the first place. The directors who thrive won't be the ones who use AI most. They'll be the ones who use AI in service of something unmistakably theirs. Will it make better directors? It could, if directors use it to expand what's possible, rather than to avoid the harder questions about what they're actually trying to say. But here's what I keep coming back to. The films that change us, the ones we carry around for years, the ones that made us want to make films in the first place, those didn't come from technical mastery. They came from someone who had something urgent to say and found a way to say it that nobody else could have. AI cannot want. It cannot need. It cannot make something because it had to. And I think that urgency, that human necessity at the center of a work, is what audiences feel, even when they can't name it. That's not going away. If anything, in a world flooded with generated images, it's going to become more precious. Subscribe and let me know. Do you think AI changes what directing is, or just what it requires? Because I think that's actually the question. If this got you thinking, subscribe. Join me on Substack, politicsofai.substack.com. That's where the real conversation continues. I'm Marc Kimball. This is the Politics of AI Filmmaking.